The boxing voice for the voice of the people.
You're listening to the boxing voice.
It's showtime! Welcome back, boxing fans. Blood is good. Blood is emotion. Blood is a story, a drama.
Deep gas, blood pouring right into his eye.
Blood is what we want to see in terms of passion.
Blood streaming now from the eye, nose, and mouth, with cheeks swollen, and he's still calm.
What we want is a bloody good fight tonight. We have Heather, the Heat Hardy. Is this you?
This is me. I think I need to talk to you every night because you make me smile and blush. Oh, yeah.
Never been a lame-o, never been a lame-o. Yeah, I love the trick. I'm okay.
You serious? You serious?
And that's the good thing about UK. That's why I can't hate on them guys, man. They love fucking boxing.
No fighters in England. They all bums.
Did you hear what this idiot just said?
Yo, son, you're gonna get your ass beat by Molina, son.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He's overrated.
Do some push-ups for me right now.
For the interview?
Yes? Let those drifting hands go. Get out of here, Virgil. Go home.
What next?
You want the table shot at the food. You don't even like it. You want the table shot at the food.
BoxingVoice.com.
This is why we use the word sensation.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of the Boxing Voice. Tonight's show is going to be Carl Froch George Groves post-fight show. Our thoughts. Where do these fighters go next? What do they do from here? And it was kind of the night of the bad calls. From over in Macau all the way to the UK. They were just making a lot of bad calls. But let me introduce my co-host.
You want the title shot at the food. You don't even like it. You want the title shot at the food.
Very, very exciting weekend of boxing. But like you said, there was some controversy involved. And we're going to get into that later. But it was a lot of competitive matchups. And I had my picks. And I was telling James about my picks. And I was talking to Ephraim yesterday. And I didn't bet anything yesterday because those fights were just so tight, and I wasn't sure of anything. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to call in and talk about, the controversy or what have you. But again, at the end of the day, we had some great fights.
Fighting out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Boxing fans, here's Jameson.
Yeah, man, it was a great weekend of fucking boxing. I was sleeping on the HBO 2 fights, but after watching them, both those fights were exciting, and I'm just happy my boy Walter didn't let me down, man. I thought that dude looked good.
Yo, I hope I'm gonna get a chance here to see just how good of both of you guys are as hosts, because I did not get a chance to watch the HBO Latino card. I tried.
For real?
That's all right.
That's all right. Real good.
James and I can kind of elaborate on that card. It was an excellent card.
Yes, you need to go back and watch those, even though you're going to hear everything that when people call in. Both those fights were extremely competitive and extremely exciting, man. Both of them.
You know what the problem is? I literally recorded like 5 different HBO Latinos all saying boxing or boxeo, and none of them were the Orlandito card. What they were Spanish versions of the Carl Froch and the Nonito. But let's get into that because, it'll give me a chance just to sit back, promote the show a little bit on Twitter and Facebook while you guys give me, because I don't know anything. I didn't read anything. I didn't see anything. So you and Beeb, take it away.
Beeb, let me ask you a question. The first fight with Orlandito and then Rosa, when I was watching the fight, I got to go back and score. I've only watched the once because I watched it earlier today. I had a feeling that I thought Orlandito was up, but then they gave it to Rosa, and it was by a wide-ass margin, too, by 8 rounds and shit. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on it because Rosa got dropped twice or dropped once. They realistically, it should have been a bigger point because Orlandito got knocked down twice, and neither one was called. And then Rosa got a point taken away for hitting on the break, was definitely just. It was a great fight. I just want to get your thoughts, man. Do you think it was a robbery? Because when I was watching it, if I was scoring when I was paying attention to, it looked like to me Orlandito was winning the fight, but I got to score it round by round, not who I thought won the fight.
Well, James, I thought the scoring was way off according to what I saw. Obviously, it's a subjective sport, but I had the fight dead even at the end. I had it a draw.
You know, I wouldn't hate on that either, because Rosa looks exactly like this dude that goes to my gym. He literally looks physically like him. His face looks like him. He's Puerto Rican and everything. And when I was watching him fight, I was like, that's exactly how that guy does it too. It's the perfect example of the because Orlandito was throwing hard punches, so it's not like even necessarily like what Herrera Garcia was. It was like a step above that in the amount of punches that they were throwing, but I didn't think Orlandito was throwing soft enough where you couldn't count his jabs, where you couldn't count all the things that he was doing. But I got to give it to Rosa, man. That dude was pop-shotting him and doing it real well, too. And it wasn't even pop shots. It was, I wouldn't say combinations because it was more like 1-2s, but he was turning over. He looked good, too, man. I'm happy both of them were in there. I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I doubt it, but...
The problem with this fight, James, is when you have subjective scoring, and we talked about this several times, you have judges that like guys that move forward. But when you looked at this fight, you'd have to say, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying you have to say, but in my opinion, you have to say that Rosa's shots had a lot more effect on, Orlandito than Orlandito's had on Rosa, because you saw, the effects. You saw that, Orlandito was backing up, and he was being forced back to the ropes, and Rosa was the one that was forcing the fight and applying the pressure. Now, obviously, when there was a little bit of distance between the two, Devalier looked a little bit better because he's able to, extend and turn over the shots, and he's a much better fighter from a distance than he is up close. But although he can hang in there a little bit up close, but the problem is Devalier just doesn't seem like he's an exceptionally strong guy. He's not an exceptionally physical guy, and I think a lot of guys will be able to kind of walk him down and walk through him because of that. And he uses a lot of movement, and he's another one of those guys who I like to classify as his legs is his defense. He likes to kind of get out of range so you can't hit him, step around your shots. He's not the type of guy that's going to catch and shoot, kind of slip, duck and dip and stuff like that. He's the type of guy that likes to get in and back out when he's done. And while he was backing out, Rosa was just kept scooting forward, didn't give him much space to breathe. And I just thought that the fight was exceptionally close because Devalier was kind of throwing a lot of those jabs, as you said. He was putting the volume out there, but I just think that Rosa just kept coming forward, and he didn't seem affected by that. And when you see a guy who's more active going up against a guy who's throwing harder shots, more often than not, I think that Rosa is going to get the benefit of the doubt in that situation. And it's not like the disparity in output was that great. I mean, Orlandito put out some more output than Rosa did, but Rosa was throwing a lot of punches too, and he was killing the body. And I'm glad that the judges took account of that and they counted the body shots. But I'll have to disagree with you on one point. Obviously it's a fair assessment by you, but I think that the point deduction was a little bit bogus in my opinion, because I remember, and I could have missed this myself. I watched it twice, but I could have missed it. I thought Rosa was one for low blows. I didn't think he was one for punching after the break. And
no, it was.
He could have been. I may have missed it again because I can't see everything. But it just felt as though that punch that he landed after the break was like a love tap. It was so insignificant. Sort of like when Maidana threw that elbow in the Amir Khan fight and he got the point taken away. I think it could have, went without saying. You know what I'm saying? It could have been left alone. But other than that, this was a highly competitive fight, and I just think the scores were wide, and I'm sure you agree with that. And it could have went either way, James. By you saying Devalier won, that's not a stretch. It's really not a stretch, and I don't have an argument for that.
Yeah, see, like I said, I got to go back and watch it. But yeah, no, he definitely warned Rosa a few times. I think it was 3 times I counted that he actually warned him with it. It wasn't like the Sturm wardings.
Yeah, I thought it was low blows. I didn't know. I'm sorry.
No, no, you're good. It wasn't Stern wardings where he grabbed him and kind of shook him and said, "You do that shit again." But it was like, "You better watch that," and then he did it again. He's like, "Seriously, you better watch that," and then he did it again. And even though it was a love tap, it was clearly after the break. The ref was already separating the two with his hands, so it was clearly a late shot. And it's not that it affected him, because that's not how it should be played. It's not a matter of he affected him or not, because one day it's going to crack him good. And I mean, it was a foul, so he deserved to get the point taken away. What impressed me most about Rosa is I honestly didn't know too much about him going into this. he has a sense of calmness in this fight. No matter when he was getting outpointed, where even if he hurt Devalier, he didn't just spring in there and start throwing crazy punches. He had a sense of calmness that not a lot of boxers have nowadays, and that really impressed me. That stood out to me probably the most in this fight is his patience and his willingness to kind of just sit back and let things happen. He didn't rush the knockout, and it didn't come, but it was just. He just seemed very poised and very mature in there.
Controlled aggression on the fight.
If you go back and look at his box records, when I was watching this, I was like, who's this dude fought? Because he looks like he's already like a top fighter. And then you go back and just 5 fights ago, he fought a dude like 4-8. You know what I mean? So he impressed me. I still want to see Orlandito, man. He's exciting to me. He's vulnerable. And I like that. So I guess we'll segue into the next fight, too, is how bad was Fortuna fucked up at the end of that fight,
Oh, my
man.
God.
He looked worse than Andre Ward did, man.
Did it? Let me ask you this, James.
Oh, my God, he looked so bad.
Not to jump in real quick, but let me ask you this. Did Fortuna's eye look worse than Donaire's eye to you?
Oh, fuck yeah. Like twice, 3 times as much. Both eyes one eye was completely shut.
Okay.
The other eye had a huge gash over it and damn near was shut. I can't believe he was able to do what he did. And then he almost got knocked the fuck out in that 10th round, too. And that was a great fight, too, man.
Oh, my God.
Ness, I know you're over there with your Dominican flag waving, but your boy Fortuna, man, he might not be the best fighter in the world, but the dude's got balls. Both dudes, I want to see him again.
He dug down. And you know what? I'll tell you this. This is one of those fights where you look at the scorecard at the end, and this is the horrible thing about BoxRec, and this is the horrible thing about looking at the scores of the fight and not really looking deep into how it's playing out. But those were all hard-fought rounds. Obviously, he was winning a lot of the early rounds just by basic boxing skills because he had the hand speed and he had the foot speed to, control the distance and control the pace of the fight, which he did. But you got the sense that Rodriguez could land something big and just turn this fight around. And he almost did it in the final 2 rounds. And he landed a jab against Fortuna, and he knocked him down. And that was a horrible call that it did not get called. That was what round was that, James? Was that the 5th round, I believe?
Yeah, no, I think it was like the 3rd or the 4th round. I don't remember. And then also he took a knee. He took a fucking knee that one too.
Yeah, he took a knee.
But dude, Rodriguez almost got blasted out in that 11th round too.
Yeah, it was the 3rd round. You're right. 3rd round.
Yeah, because a lot of these fights when they go to the championship rounds, like we see, we always talk about how we're going to see what people are made of, but a lot of times, it seems like one is usually like far away in the card, so one is kind of preserving his energy, one's trying to run away the entire time, and then the other guy is trying to really come back and he's swinging and missing. The 11th round, Fortuna really just fucking tried to knock this dude out and try to not make it go to decision. But then Rodriguez in the 12th round knew that he knew
10 rounds, James.
Win that shit.
10 rounds, James.
Oh, was it 10? Sorry, then. It was 9. It was
9 and 10.
9 and 10. Whatever. Fuck it. My point is still there. My point is still there. It's not championship rounds.
I get your point, though.
But those 2 last rounds were the most exciting of the entire fight, and I liked that. It was cool because sometimes you're just sitting back and you're like, the monotonous of a certain fight sometimes just kind of grows on you, and you kind of get bored. Not bored in the sense that you don't want to watch anymore, but bored in the sense of, come on, do something. To me, the final 2 rounds were the best because it was a good ebb and flow. I enjoyed the shit out of it. We'll get into Froch Groves. I enjoyed the shit out of that shit, too. But to me, the best card overall this whole weekend were the 2 fights on HBO, too.
Well,
I ask you guys something. Did he look world-class? Like, did he look...
Fortuna? Fuck no.
Nope.
Well,
fuck no.
Nah, he didn't look world class, Pete.
You know what's funny? Man. You know what's funny though? No, I'm obviously, he showed vulnerability. So, but I'm gonna say my version of world class is showing skill, and he has world class skill, but again, I don't think he has world class durability, and he doesn't have world class physical strength. So because of that, those are things that have to be added to the fighter to carry him to the next level. So if a guy can wear him down, and if a guy can stand up to his shots and land something big, sort of like what Froch did to Groves, then he could be hurt. He could be taken out of it. That's gonna be a question that's gonna have to be asked in the future. Will he be able to weather the storm? What if that fight was 12 rounds? You know what I'm saying? What if he had to? What if he had to endure 2 more rounds like he did the 9 and 10? Would he survive? Now, going back to what Vic said, and I respect his opinion on this, he has world-class ability, but we know that ability isn't everything because Groves had more ability too, supposedly. So the intangibles are what's going to tell the story here. Now, obviously, you're genetically gifted with certain things. And durability is genetic. You have to get that from genetics. Some guys are just physically durable. They're strong. They just have the recuperative powers. They can get hit, and they just have that gift of being able to get that oxygen flow from their lungs to their brain, and they could fucking recuperate. Fortuna, he looked like he was going out in that 10th round, and I think if there was an 11th round, he may have gotten knocked out. So.
And I thought Fortuna looked offensively talented, not necessarily skilled. I think that he's just a natural athlete.
He's a fighter. He's a good fighter. He's a good fighter. He's skilled.
You know what? The way he lets his hands go is, I was really impressed by that because
Very
he has fast reflexes. He knows how to snap his punches in with power. But his defense though is inconsistent and it's just lazy in times because he'll start moving, getting the head movement down, and then people will be slipping punches. But then he'll get trapped against the ropes and he'll stand straight up or stand right down low where he could get uppercut and hooks. He keeps his head right in the fucking middle. It's inconsistent, his defenses. So that to me means that he relies more on his talent as an athletic boxer more than his skills that he learned in the gym.
Exactly. The thing about it, James, is when you have a fighter that's gifted athletically like that, Roy Jones ruined. I hate to say, Roy Jones ruined boxing to a degree because a lot of guys tried to emulate him, and you'll have success with that. It's one of those styles when it works, it looks awesome, but when it doesn't work, it looks horrible. And it's like Tim Burr when everything comes crashing down really fast. The rug gets pulled up from underneath him. And when you got a guy that relies on his legs to get him in and get him out, basically he thinks that he is so much quicker than the other guy. All he has to do is kind of slide back, and the other guy's not going to be able to touch him. That's a problem. You have to develop other types of defensive facets to your game, which a lot of these young kids aren't always doing. And that's why the amateur program is so important because it gets you, used to working off the fundamentals.
Ness, you were trying to say something, brother.
I'm sorry, Ness, I didn't hear you.
We went on 10 minutes.
I was gonna ask, who do you guys pick to beat him easily? Who would take him out easily in that division?
He says he wants Mikey Garcia next. Mikey Garcia ices him in 3 rounds.
Mikey Garcia ices him probably in 5. I'll give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt. Again, the problem I have with him though, Ness, is it's one of them styles that I just, as I said, if someone can apply pressure and break you down, in other words, there's no plan B to this type of style. This is sheer athleticism, and that's it. Okay? And there's going to be a time where the gut check's going to come into play, where you're going to have to dig down deep. And obviously, he may have the mental capacity to think he can do that, but I just seen him getting hit, and I just seen him getting muscled around yesterday, and I think that's going to be a problem with a lot of guys down the road.
All right.
I think Wanma would be a good fight.
A lot of guys Vic, can you seen these fights, right? Because this is the only card I didn't get to watch.
I'd love to hear Vic's assessment.
It was the best card of I guess the weekend, man. The first fight I knew you guys delved into it. Great fight, bad decision, even though my pick won.
Wait, real quick, Vic, go into that a little bit more because I thought Devalier won.
I thought Devalier won. Devalier had a knockdown. Devalier also...
And a point deduction.
Rosa also had a point deduction. So the scorecards were 98-91, 97-90, 97 some change. So they're basically saying Orlandito probably won 1 round yesterday. And that was just fucking insane. Luis Rosa, I felt, was coming on at the end. And yeah, he cut Orlandito. It could have been from next to the head, but I'm not sure if it was.
I couldn't tell either.
Find some pressure, and they were fucking trading bombs. But you don't score blood. Orlandito was bleeding like crazy, but he was still winning the rounds. And as you watch that fight, Luis Rosa was confident in winning. His hand was raised, smiling like he already knew it was in the bag. To me, I thought he won 2 rounds, maybe 3.
Wow.
Maybe he won 3 rounds.
Wow, okay.
And he got the nod, dude. And the fucked up part about it is that they're both named Luis. So Orlandito fucking thought he won when they said Luis. It comes out Luis Rosa, not Luis Devalier. So it was, I don't know if Devalier favors one over the other, but they're both his guys. And it would have made sense to put that fight on this undercard that's coming up this week because they're both Puerto Rican. I don't know why Devalier had that shit in Las Vegas. You know, you could have put Andy Lee versus fucking John Jackson in Vegas, because I don't think the Puerto Rican's gonna care about that fight. But going into the main event, I thought in the first 2 rounds that the fight would have been over, because Fortuna looked spectacular in the first 2 rounds. His speed, his quickness, and everything. But then the Mexican was tough, man. As far as, I don't think he looked world class yesterday, as Beeb was saying. He does have world class ability, but it's like, I got to question his durability. Just much like Orlandito Devalier, because Devalier's face was all fucked up, even though he won. Much like Fortuna. Fortuna's fucking face was fucked up too, no?
Fortuna was real bad though. If they were scoring blood in the first fight, man, they would have called the fight in the second. Way worse than what fucking Donaire's face looked like. Oh, dude.
Vic, can I ask you a question, Vic, real quick?
Yeah.
In the first fight, do you think that Devalier? What was the first fight? It was Devalier, right?
Mm-hmm.
Devalier, Rosa, yeah.
Well, did you think that Rosa's punches were having more effect on Devalier than Devalier's on Rosa? Because you saw Rosa just keep plugging, forward. You saw Devalier when he got hit, he was kind of being pushed back. Do you think that had any sway in the judges? Did you think that?
It might have. I think
the judges a foregone conclusion. Do you think that was something that the judges picked up on?
Maybe, but again, there was too much. I don't think there was that much activity from Rosa in some rounds.
So you thought Fortuna just had the better output, and he was the more.
Well, I thought Devalier did. I thought Devalier had the better output.
I mean Devalier, sorry.
And then when Devalier, Devalier was a faster guy. I mean, you can see the hand speed difference was there, the foot speed difference was there. I got to give credit Rosa. I mean, Rosa kept coming on, took some punishment. Certainly, I thought Devalier won. But
did you like how Rosa cut the ring off though, and kind of backed them into corners and back?
I did. I told the guys on Thursday, Mario and Ness, that when I saw Rosa fight, what's his face, George Diaz in Jersey. Yeah. And that's how he was. He's tenacious. I mean, he would take 2 punches, but then stay right there.
Isn't he?
Yeah,
he and I son of a bitch.
And I thought that would be a difference in the fight. It could have been. That might have been the difference. The judges might have liked that aggressiveness.
I think they did, Vic, and I think they liked the difference in reaction where Rosa would land a shot against Devalier, and Devalier would just kind of back off, and he was. The problem is he showed that visibly hurt. Rosa didn't seem to be hurt by anything Devalier threw. I mean, obviously he may have been, but just by the way he carried himself, just by his expression in the ring, he didn't look like he was being hurt at all. And I'll tell you, I had the fight dead even, and it was just a close fight in my opinion. It was just close, and if it wasn't for the point deduction me, I thought Rosa would have won. So I don't know. It was one of them things where you could be right, I could be right. It's all how you look at it. There's no really. The only problem was no matter how you had it, you had to have it at least by a point or two by either guy. If you picked either guy, I had it a draw.
Well, I think I had.
What was your score in this fight, Vic?
I wasn't really scoring. I wasn't really scoring. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was 1 in the morning or 12:30. So I mean, I was pretty much.
Did you think it was close though? Did you think it was close, or did you?
I thought it was close. I thought that Devalier might have swung by 1 or 2 rounds. Maybe that knockdown was the difference.
Yeah, because that's the way I see it. Because if anyone said Devalier won, I'm not gonna sit there and say, "Oh no, there's no way." I could see either guy winning this fight, no question.
I just don't think Devalier being getting the knockdown, also Rosa being deducted a point.
Yeah.
That he won by like 8 points. I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah, it was just horrible. I couldn't see the score. I'm not gonna say the score. Again, this is a subjective sport, but I just don't see how you can only give Devalier 1 or 2 rounds. That's crazy.
Yo, but let me ask you guys a question. If you're a judge and you're sitting next to ringside and you see a knockdown like that happen both times with Devalier, oh wait, no, I'm thinking of Fortuna. Never mind. Fuck.
Yeah.
I'll go into that anyway. If you go into a fight like that and you see, because I was thinking about this during the fight. If you're a judge and you're sitting there and you see that Fortuna clearly got knocked down, but it didn't get called, and it's a close round, do you give the call to the other guy because you saw him get knocked down, but even though it didn't get called, you don't take the point away, but you still give the credit to the other fighter?
You're not supposed to, James.
You're not supposed to. Yeah.
But if you want to do it, I guess you can, right? Who the
I mean, they
fuck's
could do whatever they want.
who the fuck's gonna say anything?
They could
Who's
do whatever
gonna
they
know?
want. I mean,
Who's
didn't they
gonna know?
score? Didn't they
I-
at first score the Donaire Vetyeka round 5, and then they didn't score it? Like,
What happened is they scored it, but they had to score it 10-10. And the funny thing about it is you don't really have to. I don't know why they even rang the bell for that round. If they wanted to stop the fight in between rounds, he could have stopped the fight in between rounds. That was a crazy fight, and that was just. I'm sure we'll get into that. I think Ness saw that one, so we'll let Ness dive into that one because he hasn't had much to talk about recently. So you want to dive into that, Ness?
You're on mute, brother, I think.
Actually, I wanted to see if any of you guys caught the Sturm fight.
Oh no, I heard that was
I
a
didn't
sick
see
fight.
it. That's the only one I didn't catch this week. It was going on same time as Froch.
Yeah, I heard that was sick.
I got to watch that, man, again.
Wow.
You guys know that, I'm not being sponsored by fucking Apple TV, but everybody needs to have Apple TV or some sort of thing like an Apple TV. I was able to watch that on demand. Like, just go to ESPN3, boop, pop it on my TV, and the entire card was there. Man, Sam Solomon is an awkward dude. Jesus. 40 years old, too, and he was moving like that. Pascal said it best in his interview. I don't even have to reiterate it. Like, and he already
Take the test.
He already tested positive.
You gotta take the test.
Fight. But he was fucking Sturm up, and it really didn't seem to me like Sturm wasn't better than this guy. It was more like I really got the sense that
Does he sound funny to you guys?
he got
Nice.
not gunshot, but that he's when you just lose your will. That's how it felt to me. He just wouldn't let his hands go. He was just following Solomon around like an idiot.
I heard there was no prototypical Felix Sturm jab being thrown. Like, that great jab wasn't there yesterday.
No, because this guy, listen, Solomon. Oh man, I'm gonna sound crazy saying this, but his skills are somewhat underrated. If not, at least with Sturm it is, because he kept having this ability to kind of like go in like Amir Khan, but nowhere near with that speed, kind of just offsetting Sturm all the time. So sometimes Sturm will be following him, or Strom, however you pronounce his name, will be following him, and then right then and there, he'll just stop and wing like a 4-punch combination. Then he'll back up again, and he'll start, leading with the jab. And then he'll back up again. Like, he just kept Sturm Sturm wasn't able to set up to throw that jab, dude. He just wasn't able to. I don't know, and because this guy is very awkward, but he uses his legs very well, dude. I don't even, again, 40 years old. This dude was moving around the ring very good. Very good. But he was a grabber. Like, it was times that he would, like, immediately grab with that left hand and just whale punches at Sturm. He was just being more active too whenever they were exchanging. And again, Sturm just wasn't letting his hands go. I just felt like you watched the fighter just be diminished right there in front of you.
Yeah, Sam Solomon's always been that weird, awkward fighter. I mean, even if you remember back from the Contender Series, they kept talking about that. He's very unconventional. You loop him in with the Darchinyans, you loop him in with the Carlos Molinas, other people like that. But he's always been kind of like that, and it sucked when he tested positive because he's always been really a big guy. And now that I guess he took the test this time, there's no questions about it, or at least there's less questions. But yeah, he's always had power, and I'm not too surprised, to be honest with you, that he beat Sturm, but I'm happy for him, I guess.
I'm a little surprised.
You gotta wait for the post-fight test. Have they been administered, or have they been, like, did he test positive, negative yet?
I thought he was taking them on the way up. All right, never mind. Miscommunication.
I guess there was the time that he did come up positive. I guess the B sample came back clean, so there's speculation that maybe it was messed around with. I don't know. I just heard things about that. So.
Yeah. They didn't. I didn't see anything about him, testing positive or anything like that, or any post-fight testing. But he won like every single round on my card almost. I think I gave Sturm I think it was like the 4th or something like that. It was crazy, man. He was really punishing him.
Ness, you got the text about the numbers, right?
Yeah, I'm looking for him at the same time, guys. I don't see them. They could you text them back and let them know to press 1?
Both of them?
Yeah, both of them.
Well, I mean, mine is a Puerto Rico number, so I mean, I don't think we get that many calls from Puerto Rico. It's a 787 number. Yeah. Oh, nothing there?
B.
Yes. Who's got background going on?
Yeah, I hear a TV going. What's up with
Who's
that?
got the TV in the back? Okay.
Vic, you
Get
there?
louder.
I think I froze.
Yo, Ness, I hear you, brother. Yo, let's get into Walters and fucking Darchinyan because I'm dying to talk about that fight.
Yeah, I mean the Darchinyan fight. I like
Nicholas
this
Walters.
guy Walters, but I don't know if I'm sold on him yet. You know, he definitely did what he should have done to an old Darchinyan. You know, and he showed some spots where he looked very skillful because that time when he landed that right uppercut, man, that was nice. But there was I don't know. I don't think I was overly impressed with him. But
Yo,
again, at that division, I guess.
Let's check the line now. It should be a 787 there. You heard? Ness?
I heard you, Vic.
What the hell is going on? Is Ness there?
I'm not sure if he's having internet problems.
Can you see
Oh,
the
yeah, I
call?
think his shit froze up.
Huh?
I think his shit froze up.
Fuck, man. Babe, can you see the
switchboard? Yeah, let me see.
it should
Yo,
be a
I'm calling my
787 number
translator
there.
right now.
Go right to the studio. It's not the blog talk, fellas. It's Ness's internet. Continue.
You see a 787, B?
Yes, I do. Hold on.
But we need Ness to translate or somebody. Killing these smalls.
I may have to call into the to the show something because let me see. Show's still there, but I'm not able to unmute people for some reason. I think you have to call back into the show real quick. Hold on, because he got disconnected from the show. Let me see if I can call back into the show, Vic, and then I can do what we need to do here.
Okay, they're on the line.
Yo, do you see a 602 number on there, Beep, too?
Let me say 602. I see the 787-246-33.
Whoa!
I didn't do the last four. I just said
okay.
Yeah, I didn't do the last four. I just did the first like four.
Okay, yo, did you see? Is there a 602? Because my translator should be calling in too.
I didn't see the 602. Yeah. All right, let me see.
So what are we doing? We're waiting for Ness, or what are we doing?
I'm trying to call back in, Vic, so I can control the switchboard to let people on here.
Well, Vic, while he's doing that, give me your opinion what you saw with the Darchinyan and Walters fight.
Well, I thought it was good. I thought it was a coming out party for Walters. Dude is going to be a tough out for anybody at 126. Dude is long. Dude is tall. He can box. And, man, that was a sick KO body shot. I mean, that was just nasty, man. And say what you want about Top Rank, but they control 126 right now. And there's some interesting fights those guys are going to make in the next coming months, whether it be Donaire, Gradovich, with Walters now. I mean, there's fights to be made there.
Let me see if I unmute the person. See, I have to get them on the phone too.
We need someone that speaks Spanish, though.
Yeah, I can control the switchboard, but the thing is, the problem is that it's not going to come through on the thing. It's going to be I'll have to. I don't have that setup that he has where the blog talk could come in through the Hangout. The only thing we'd have to do is we'd probably have to just call into the host line, and they'd probably have to cancel the Hangout unless he can get back on. We'll have to just do the show.
He says he's rebooting to get back on right
now. Oh, okay.
So
what we can do is we can just hang on. Let's just go through the itinerary till he gets back on. I'm sure he'll be able to get back on, and we'll be fine. Guys, obviously it's Nessa's internet that went down. We apologize for that. Let's just see if we can shoot back to the itinerary. Keep this moving here, because I'm sure the people on YouTube can still see us. And people.
Yo, let me call another translator. Hold on, I'll be right back.
All right, so we left off with Sam Solomon. I guess Hank Lundy took care of his business against Pepino Cuevas Jr., which is probably no surprise to most. And he's clamoring for a title shot. He says he wants Matisse too. Matisse isn't a champion, but obviously he wants either a title shot or a big fight. And the big question is he going to stay at 135 or is he going to stay at 140? Go up to 140, excuse me. What would you think would be the best move for him, Vic? You think he could beat those guys at 140, or think he has a better shot in the weaker division at 135?
Well, I always thought Lundy was a good boxer. 135 was his division. 140, there's some big boys up there. You got Matisse, you got Peterson, you got Danny Garcia, obviously. Ruslan Provatnikov. I mean, there's some big boys up there that can bang. But Lundy has proven he can box. It's just sometimes he gets careless, and when he gets careless, he gets knocked out or gets knocked down. I'm a fan of Lundy. I like to see Lundy fight. I've always clamored for him to get some of these shots, maybe against a Danny Garcia, maybe against a Provatnikov instead of Chris Algieri. But I'd like to see him at 140. I think he makes for some interesting fights there. I'm not sure what his promotional situation is, but, I guess he can fight back and forth on HBO and Showtime. So, where does Lundy go from here? 140, you got that, Victor Postel. Postel already beat him. I'm not sure. Who do you want to fight?
The Danny fight would not be a bad fight because the people are going to question Danny. They're going to say he's vulnerable against a guy that can box and keep him on the outside and a guy that's pretty good defensively. And Lundy has shown that he could do the same things that Herrera could do to some degree. Maybe not as slow. Actually, he could do the same things Herrera could do, I would think. Would you agree with that? The thing is he's just got to be disciplined enough to do it, for the whole fight and not go into those laps